So I think we're recording now. I haven't used this mode in a little bit, so we were just gonna fucking wing it, I guess.
Well, let's get to it. There's been a lot that's changed over the past few months. What month did we do the first one in?
Before we do that, let me go for intro. I appreciate it though.
Do it,
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 12 of Include Xclude. Today's guest is none other than Hesh Donnerstag. You already know him from the first podcast on episode 4. He's back again. The repeat offender. You already know what to expect. Or don't. But see what happens. I don't have any questions to have on the cell phone. We're just going to go and kind of like freestyle this.
Yeah.
So to speak. So Freestyle, son. Okay.
Awesome.
Dude, how you been?
Well, dude, I'm good. Thank you. And I'm honored to be the first repeat offender. So episode 4, this is episode...
12.
So was it how many months ago was it? What month did we meet?
I think like 4 months ago-ish.
4 months ago?
Who's counting?
Okay.
I'll check on
a lot's
SoundCloud.
changed.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff's gone on, good stuff. What about you?
Been exploring lately. I've been traveling lately to Brooklyn, kind of like checking out that scene over there.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
Techno
I raked up a little bit of cash and kind of exploring that scene. And now I'm in the Techno Brooklyn group.
Okay,
so
cool.
I'm just like kind of exploring that neighborhood and
good
everything
dudes.
else.
They're great guys. Austin, Ryan, a guy by the name of Kai Williams. I'll talk about him in a little bit. But I had the opportunity. I wanted to meet those guys, and also I'm doing a couple tours that we'll talk about a little bit later. But I want to hear about you.
Sure.
It's about time that maybe this is episode 12 where we include Xclude.
Yeah, that's fine.
So tell me about, you had 2 trips, right?
Yep.
You had 2 trips to Brooklyn. Tell me about both experiences.
Sure. First trip, I went to see, what's their face? I went to Basement. No, I had some good stuff that night. I went to Basement later in the night, and then before that, I went to Nowadays. And it was kind of like a primer for me going to Afterlife the following weekend. I'm just looking on my phone and trying to...
I'm techno fancy.
I'm just looking at my phone, my schedule to see...
I'm at the Mirage.
to see where I was previous. Oh, okay, that was the day. That was the day after. Actually, so Adam X was the first. Actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, Adam X. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Adam X was the first venue I saw and went into. Okay, it was Adam X, Roman, Ni-Ri-A. I think that's how you pronounce his or her name at Basement.
Right.
Got in with a bunch of buddies.
Right.
And literally, the night before that, I was at I think it was at the Barbary. Yeah.
Right on.
And then Shannon was like, "Yo, aren't you going to Basement? Like with everybody else, because everybody else is going to Izu?" And I was like, I don't have anything planned or anything scheduled. So I was like, okay, I'll go.
Cool.
I got a ride up there, but I didn't know how the hell I was going to get back.
Cool.
So went there.
Wing it. The universe.
Yep. So I get there. I go to Basement.
Yeah.
And that was one hell of a time. Had some X there while seeing Adam X.
Oh,
and
double X
it's
it.
good yeah. It was good times. First time doing it, first time trying E. And it was a good trip.
You're so transparent.
Yeah.
I love it.
But
what's up?
But seeing the performance there and seeing the venue there, it was a trip, literally.
Yeah.
And loved it. It reminded me of going into Trésor a little bit. It felt that kind of gritty.
Kind of like dark. Dark, techno-y.
Yeah, but the space in and of itself, there was like these like small alleyways where you can kind of lose yourself.
Of course.
Within the music, and as well as
Absolutely.
like how you're feeling with your friends or whatever.
Sure.
I feel decent prices as far as the bars.
Cool.
Is going for.
Didn't
It wasn't
cost
too
you an arm
expensive.
and leg?
Yeah, I think thankfully, and just had a good time and played till like 5:30. But supposedly that was early.
I don't know.
I wouldn't know either. But for the people who I talked to after that, they said that was kind of early. But I'm not quite sure. It was my first time. We had a good time.
It's all
regardless.
relative. It's noon somewhere. Then the following week.
The following day.
No, the following week.
Okay.
You went to Afterlife.
Yes.
Right. Tell
Yes,
me
I did.
about Afterlife.
Okay, Afterlife.
I want to hear about you, and then we'll talk about me.
Sure.
That's a good way.
Basement was kind of a primer
Right.
to Afterlife. It kind of made me know what to expect as far as like how to plan shit.
Like
Yeah.
what?
Well, first off, getting a room at the first off getting a room or having somewhere to go to after everything is all said and done. Because after Basement, I was trying to find places to stay. I didn't have a place to stay, so I was like, what should I do? And eventually, that's a kind of a long story, but eventually I made my way back the following week to Afterlife.
Cool.
With Afterlife, very stringent security was what I noticed when I finally got there with my buddies. You know who you are. And went through the line. They checked my bags. They checked everything. And I wasn't the only one.
Right.
Cameras everywhere. For others, I felt kind of claustrophobic as far as the security was concerned.
Right.
But once they got through that, it was like kind of like game on at that point.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. So, who were the opening acts when you saw?
I saw.
Rookies.
Sorry.
Kids.
Well, I could tell you who I saw. I saw Courtesy. I saw P.L.U.R.
There you go.
I saw.
P.L.U.R makes bombs, right? It's like
I-
power
I-
techno.
I met P.L.U.R.
I
had
know.
a
I saw your
chance-
pictures
yeah.
on social, dude.
I had a chance to talk to P.L.U.R.
He said he was awesome.
They were awesome. I was in the chill room.
Is it him or is it him and another person?
Him and another person.
Yeah, I thought so.
Turns out they're a trio, actually.
Ew.
One of their earlier boiler rooms had 3 members
Three
of
dudes.
P.L.U.R.
Yeah,
And-
on their, like, as close as I've gotten is their Beatport page, and I think it's 2 dudes on the Beatport page, and I was under the impression it was 2 dudes.
Same here, but on Boiler Room, one of their older
Crazy,
episodes. Yeah.
dark, fast techno.
Yeah, live, too.
Love it. Boom.
I love it, too. I
the
saw
face.
Ben Clock,
Ben Clock, the master at work.
and I just happened to get backstage.
Mm.
Believe it or not, because of P.L.U.R., I just followed them towards backstage, and the guy was just
Yeah.
like, you can come in. Okay, the lineup for Afterlife was Return, Mano Lee Tuff, Tail of Us, Ep Kyle, Val, Chris Lindbergh, Ben Clock, P.L.U.R, Courtesy, Mathorm, I'm mispronouncing that thing. Mathmay, yeah. Dennis Horvat,
Yeah.
and Return.
Wow.
So
You saw some of the best techno acts and melodic dark acts in the world. That's awesome.
I wasn't the only one. So
Yeah.
that place was jam packed. Some people were complaining that on the forums, well, on the post on
Yeah.
Facebook for when I said
People
too
complain
jam-packed.
about anything.
Yeah, that's
Good
understandable.
comedy specials, jokes. They'll complain about shows. They'll complain about politics. People complain about anything. You know that.
Right.
So you could take one of the best shows that Brooklyn Mirage has ever seen, and is probably one of the most melodic. And they have some greats there, like Rufus Du Sol, and I know that they just had Mayan Warrior, or they're about
Yep.
to have Mayan Warrior, and All Day I Dream, I think might even be today there.
Yep.
And the second one of the summer, and it's just like they have some of the best melodic stuff, and people still complain about it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'm sure it's ran well. There's not a lot of problems.
Right.
It's
just a
I'm
small-
a little jealous. I was actually at Hobo at
right,
I was
right,
at
right.
Analog in Brooklyn the night before at Techno Brooklyn's party. Shout out right now, Ryan Provost, Austin, you guys awesome. Kai Williams, anybody else in that crew who I met, awesome millennial, open-minded dudes. And I basically walked into this party not knowing anybody other than some stuff on social. And right now, I was given the responsibility. Two of the bigger international headliners from Europe reached out. One you guys might be very familiar with. His name is Aaron, and Aaron signed to Yoshitoshi, Matador's Ruckus label, Swara, Steyoyoki. So like, pretty big, great producer. Has done work with Olivier Giacomato. It was just like, this guy's was a little bit of a hero to me, and he ended up being very, very supportive to my work, and he liked all the stuff from what I was doing live, and not that there's been a ton of it in the last year, but he really, really liked the releases on Beatport. He kind of reached out on social, and we started to actually become friends and actually talk about some of our productions, and he would send stuff to me and ask me questions, and I would, bounce some stuff off him. Another guy by the name of Stylo from Timeless Moment, Mortagua's Brazilian label called Timeless Moment. They're probably tops in the melodic techno game. Them, Lost on You, plus I'm sure you guys have some other favorites that make melodic techno. But to give you an idea, those two are my favorite. And out of nowhere, Stylo reaches out. He becomes a fan, becomes a friend. I'm, of course, a fan of him. He becomes a colleague. We start talking. And the next thing I know is that I'm booking 2 U.S. tours, at least for the few weeks around their shows. Yeah, it's really it's surreal, I guess. But the reality is this is where I wanted to be 2-3 years ago when I started learning Ableton, and I never imagined that in the last year I would have almost 50 releases, 30 something tracks, and I think we had maybe 13 or 14
a pretty eclectic catalog.
Top 10 releases in all kinds of 3 or 4 different genres, between progressive, melodic, and the bigger techno stuff, and stuff with me and stuff with Mosa, and then stuff on Tons of Mineshaft. Shout out to Claudio Capo, Mosa, A B, Leroy, Sean Underwood, I see you, Simpatiac, new stuff coming out soon. So that's what's going on. Techno Brooklyn, unbelievable dudes. So I was so exhausted. I ran into my friend Neil Desai, who's a Burning Man dude. He had phoned me and found out I was going out. So we met up at Analog, and then I slept over at his house. Next thing I knew, it was Afterlife. And I was like, I'm going back to Philly. You guys have a blast.
How was Analog? I haven't been to Analog yet.
Analog's really cool. It reminds me of some of the European clubs that it's going to only fit maybe
small
400, 500 people, but it's going to look like a sea of people, similar to Club Vague in Antwerp, Belgium, if anybody knows. These clubs aren't humongous, but it looks like a sea of humanity.
Yeah, it looks good in photos.
Yeah, and I was in the DJ booth. I met Hobo. I met Kai Williams, awesome young producer, awesome young DJ. And we actually have finished our first collaboration just because I went out to go see Hobo and meet the guys from Techno Brooklyn. So check out Kai Williams. He's got got a few releases already on Beatport, but the one that we made together is a techno banger.
Can you believe it? Techno in Brooklyn wasn't really a thing a couple years back, and now, I wouldn't say that, but what I'm trying to say, yes, I did. What I'm trying to say is,
it's a lot bigger now than it was 3
correct.
or 4 years ago,
and even 30 years back. But why would you want to go to Brooklyn now? Brooklyn is like a sea of people.
Well, Williamsburg, and
it's exploding.
Analog isn't in Williamsburg. It's actually as soon as you get into Brooklyn, you have to go all the way down the coastline, sort of. And I don't know what section it is, guys. Forgive me, but Uber knew exactly where it was.
Of course, thankfully,
and cool people, easier security, nice people. I bought some of their gear, support their cause, and hopefully we can get something together. I showed them Aaron, and I showed them Stylo, and that I'm doing the tour, but they're all booked up with dates. So I think I'm going to talk to some other promoters in Brooklyn and hopefully place these guys. I have conversations right now open with St. Petersburg, Florida, Flash in D.C., Philly, and a group that you know pretty well, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet because I'm waiting for a yes from their boss.
Gotcha.
So hopefully we can get Aaron or Stylo, or Aaron Stylo Donnerstag combination somehow in Philly, because a lot of people ask me when I'm going to play in Philly again, and they didn't make it out to those small shows that we had at Warm Daddies that you played. You played one of them.
Great show.
And I haven't played any night stuff in 6 or 7 months, or whatever, maybe even longer. And I've been taking other gigs, and I'm trying to do more national and international stuff.
I would suggest trying House of Yes in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And try maybe.
Shout out to David Kiss.
Try out
you
PS1.
never call me to play your club.
Try PS1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really try. So that's kind of the deal.
Okay.
And like, I'm not going to be asking promoters to book me. And I think that that's kind of the like where I'm at in the industry. If like we can put something together, or like you want my sound based on like my past history and my productions and stuff like that, I'm sure that, you know, guys at Yoshitoshi and Ruckus aren't calling clubs to play. So I'm gonna be on the fringe and just produce stuff, and then I want promoters and bigger labels to come at me after I've submitted my demos. Like I have so much work to do, and this next year of the Donnerstag brand is going to be me submitting my demos to bigger labels and hopefully getting signed by people like Timeless Moment. I just used for the first time I did an analog master of my work, and it's a little bit more expensive to anybody who's listening, but I work with SM Mastering, and the guy who runs it, his name is Thiago, and you can find SM Mastering on all of your social channels. Thiago just recently did Cherry AU's track, and Solomon played it main stage at Tomorrowland. So to give you an idea, all of Timeless Moments' work, I mean, like literally like dozens and dozens of top 10, top 100 Beatport tracks getting washed analog. And when he sent back my work, it was phenomenal. And I'm going to use some of this money and some of my effort and time to analog master my tracks now, instead of having them, VST,
Right.
or partially VST, partially analog, 100% analog masters. I'm going to show the labels and my fans that I'm willing to make the investment to level up the music, because I think that the mixing is getting better, and I'll have some updates about that too, because I'm going to be studying in Madrid at the School of Audio Engineering with Marco Furia.
And you're also going overseas, not too
Yes.
far for now.
Yeah, the 29th of September I head out. I'm flying into Barcelona. What I do is I kind of check in at Barcelona, then I fly to Luxembourg. I play Luxembourg October 5th at Spot 48, and then I head to back to Barcelona, and I play for Burn Energy Drink, and they have a live studio set up.
Nice.
So I'm going to be doing like a live like podcast kind of jam. I play for an hour for Burn, and
Gotcha.
And with my good friend Groove and Yes, who's also signed to XTR Records with me in Madrid. And then I'm going to ADE for the first time, and I'm going to politic, and I'm going to see some great shows, and I'm going to get to meet my partner, Claudio Capo from Tanzania for the first time. I'm going to hang out with my friend Alessandro Allegri. He's one of the official photographers for Ultra in Miami. He's going to be meeting me there, and so we have about 4 or 5 good friends. I'm going to see In Depth, Shahar Malmed. I'm going to also see Al Bird, he from Ballroom Records, at their meet and greets, and hopefully seeing John Aquaviva's presentation to young industry professionals, and just want to meet people, want to grow the brand.
Would that be your first time in Madrid?
It'll be well, that's actually in Amsterdam. AD's
Right,
in
AD in
Amsterdam, but
Amsterdam,
it'll
but-
also be my first time in Madrid.
Okay.
And we're trying to work on some Madrid shows too. So if I can get out of there with like 3, 4, 5 shows, like in Europe on this go round, I'd be more than psyched. I just want to meet people. I want to spread the love of the music. I want to share music. I want to share the decks with people. I want to make friendships that last a lifetime. Yeah, being famous is great, and I would really, really love that one day, to be like one of those guys, not the baddest dude out there like Dennis Farrar says, but one of the baddest dudes out there.
Gotcha.
Not the baddest dude, but one of the baddest
Among
dudes.
them.
Yeah, I want to. That's where I'd like to be in the next couple of years, and it's not going to happen if I don't get out of my house, and if I remain like socially awkward, I'm never going to meet anybody. So, I'm spending 30 days in Europe, and I am going to travel anywhere that I'm booked, and when I'm not booked, enjoy Europe for 30 days, come back around Halloween, and hopefully I'll be walking into some bigger bookings. So
There you go.
yeah,
Speaking of which,
do it.
speaking of big bookings, a lot of big bookings are going to be, looks like to be playing
my
here in
God.
Philadelphia. From what we
Anna,
heard over the weekend, Nina Kravitz.
Oh my God. There's like heroes,
Yeah.
heroes, and they're getting the females too. I hope that Philly realizes what people like, I guess Rob Payne and Ravi are doing. I mean, they're bringing in some beautiful acts, and like there's no reason that these places shouldn't be packed. Warehouse on Watts should be packed for these shows. Guys, if you're listening to me, you got to come out and support people like Anna, and you got to support acts like Nina Kravitz, two of the biggest female.
I got my
in
tickets
the
already
world,
for Nina.
Man. Other than Charlotte DeWitt, like who else? You know, could there,
I mean, Lenz.
like Amelie Lenz and Peggy Goo.
There you go.
Right?
It could happen.
You know, like shout out to Ravi and shout out to everybody who's in Rob Payne's clique, like Dirty and Air Francisco and those guys. They're doing the work. They're doing everything from selling tickets to setting up the equipment to putting out the money to get these people here. And Philly, don't let them down. Please support those guys because they care about the music and they care about your city learning exactly what goes on and what can happen in techno. And hopefully my dream for these places is that that you can't get in these places.
Right.
You know?
And what I'm seeing was from last weekend over basically Friday the 13th, that weekend just passed. I was over at the Barbary not too long ago, and
Right on. Shout out.
yeah, I'm seeing fresh faces. I'm seeing like new faces. I'm seeing
I hope they
people
stick.
react
I hope they
to
stick.
like this scene that's progressing.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys have been in Philly for 30 years, and the Shakedown Party is 16 years, I think.
Really?
And
Wow.
I had the pleasure to play a month after the 15th anniversary for Rob and Dirty and the Shakedown family and the Barbary family, and like it's just kind of I hope that these kids stick. I hope the people that come out to these shows stick and they support anybody who's in the music industry in Philly, let alone house music, let alone tech house, let alone melodic techno, let alone techno. We have some of the biggest names coming here now. You know what I mean? And these guys are definitely taking some risk, and they're making the investment. And if you're listening to this and I can affect what you do, come out and support Amelie Lenz. One
day.
Nina Kravitz. Come out and support Anna. Do it. Go out.
Do you think that
Support
might
them.
be a thing where if we continue to get these acts more commonly, it'll be a point where you have to get your tickets super quick before they sell out, almost like Eric Prydz,
I
for this
hope-
Hollow show?
I hope so. I mean, like, it's Noto's not taking, like, other than that Tenaglia show that they had not too long ago, and a wacky Marcus Schultz, like wacky, yeah, it was Marcus Schultz booking at Noto. I mean, they're not making the investment in the techno, and Brooklyn's making the investment in the techno, and Philly's starting to make the investment in the techno.
Yeah.
And let's look at Fold Theory. Fold Spirit Theory had so many amazing techno artists on the rooftop at Golf and Social this past summer.
Yeah.
And shout out to Fold Theory.
Shout out to the Fold, yep.
You guys are great, and you guys are keeping it alive. Ashley,
Right.
Carlos, I see you, Colin Genchev, back from Bulgaria.
I see.
Right? And
Yeah.
like, guys, support them too, man. They're getting it done on every level. They had so many techno live stars here this summer. So shout out to anybody who's keeping the name of techno cranking.
Just to let you guys know, we're outside on this beautiful deck, so if you happen to hear some wind noise through the microphones, we're sorry. But it's a wonderful day out.
About 80-something degrees.
80-something degrees. We're catching a tan as we speak.
So tan, bro.
Right. It's all we're missing is some sand and some water.
And some ladies, bro.
Right. But I would imagine you going to Madrid, you'll see plenty of that.
Yeah. It's
Find the sun.
My personal life's been upside down for the last now going on a year and a half. So anybody who knows me knows I went through a big breakup about a year and a half ago, and things have been complicated lately. Let's just say that. So I'm looking forward to meeting new people in Europe.
So am I. And speaking of meeting new people, I'm
Talk to me.
for myself, I'm like,
Let's hear about you.
I'm slowly but steadily growing on Facebook. Like I went from 150 people not too long ago to like 250.
That's awesome.
I know that's kind of small in the retrospect because
You mean like as far as friends on Facebook?
correct. I mean you're
But they're mostly people you know, which
exactly,
is different
and that's the big thing.
than like you and somebody who's like in Pakistan. No offense, it's Pakistan. I see you. I love you. But there's a lot of people that hit me up in the music industry, and I like to be inclusive with everybody I can who sends me a friend request who doesn't seem like screwy or
Right.
like spammy. I try to include everybody, but it's like you have to understand, like in a year, like in the last year, I probably added 1,000 people, but understand your organic 150 people
Mhm.
growth is way more impactful than me trying to like hook up with people that like my Mixcloud.
Gotcha. I understand.
like,
yeah.
Dude, AI2 is amazing. Thanks. I love you. It's almost.
Well,
I didn't
thank you.
write any of it.
Thank you for that retrospect. And
It's true though.
yeah, it's true.
Think 100 organic, like friends.
But hopefully promoters recognize
and
that
they're interactive.
as well.
Yeah, and I know that your goal is eventually is to be producing music full time or at least mega part time and DJing everywhere because you love to share the music and you love to travel. And you and I have gotten to really, really know each other over the last year.
Thanks, man.
And as a human being, man, I've definitely fallen in love with you as a human being because you're so different and you're so supportive than it appears at first because you're a very, very quiet dude.
I was grown up pretty strict. I will tell the
Yeah.
audience that.
And like you're a super awesome guy, but we would just when we crossed paths, we really didn't interact too much. And I know that we've been to things or you've been to my stuff or whatever, and we've been around each other a lot. But like in this last year, when it was me and Cody went to play that
Sprout?
No, it was Ashley and Carlos's open decks. To go,
Oh, yeah,
to
yeah,
go
yeah,
get
yeah,
Cody
yeah,
in,
yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah,
played a
yeah.
little bit, and you played there, and that's where we met. And you reached out almost like a week or two later, immediately, and we became friends right away. And music brings people together.
Yep.
And we both like have lifted each other up and supported each other a lot. And you're also one of the people in Philly that even though like when I was getting bullied or trolled or whatever, it's like you stood behind me and you were always positive and like how I am as a human, because everything from like the yoga to the charity work to the mentoring
Right.
and just like trying to be a good friend to people. And I'm not better or worse than anybody. I just got a lot of love, and to be bullied and to be trolled, like nobody deserves that. Even the kid that did that to me doesn't deserve that.
Even the person who did that to me doesn't deserve that. It through like Messenger on Facebook.
It's crazy.
Acting as me, even though I wasn't, like sending random stupid messages on Facebook to random people who I don't know.
Yeah, and then they like attacked Carlos and Ashley, and I don't even want to get into that, but
Right,
like they're
it's not.
such beautiful, awesome people, so just understand that with success comes some hate, and by no means am I successful by where we're headed. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like I'm going to remain humble, and I'm going to keep working hard and getting up early and going to bed late and just making music and sharing it and loving it and just doing everything I can for everybody.
Right.
Fuck
Right.
yeah. Let's do it.
It makes the scene that much better for
We need support.
if we all come together, which
also
we are,
support-
which
we
we
all
are.
have to support each other,
know.
man. We have to support each other. I mean, Philly, unfortunately, the way that Philly works is like if you're not in a certain group of people, they don't reach out and support other people's music for the most part. So like we have to promote and we have to support. We have to buy each other's tracks. We have to recommend each other's tracks. We have to mention each other on the Beatport like playlists if you're a Beatport or like a professional artist. And what I'm going to be doing this go round is I'm going to be going to a lot more shows.
There you go.
I'm going to get out of my room.
Wow. That's participation right there, I guess.
So I have to bring my ID, right?
From what I hear, yeah.
Yeah, from word on the street.
But speaking of promotion, I'm kind of slowly promoting. I guess slowly promoting myself as somebody in the scene, kind of sort of
Awesome.
through this podcast, and also like the shirt that I'm wearing right now.
P.L.U.R.
I made on Custom Ink. .com. Now,
All
believe it
right.
or not, I was
You made
thinking,
that?
yeah, I was thinking, well, not physically, but
That's as fly as
I
a
designed
falcon,
it.
sir.
I designed it, but I designed it through customing. I was actually going through, I was debating whether or not to go through a local source or the
Yeah.
customing. So I was like, let me try customing first because I feel it's a little bit more streamlined.
Explain to people what P.L.U.R is, and it applies to all genres, guys. It's not just an EDM thing,
It's very much
and it's bringing it
Great.
to consciousness. So tell everybody what P.L.U.R is.
Sure, it's very much kind of ingrained into club culture, or at least was ingrained into club culture at one point. Plural stands for peace, love, unity, and respect. And oftentimes, we kind of lose our sense of that, despite everything going on around us. At night, whatever time of day that may be, and
Or morning.
or morning. It depends how many drinks you had. Depends what you're on.
Yeah.
But we always have to have basically some common sense within us, despite everything else going on around you or me or whomever. It's kind of hard sometimes to kind of realize that, and it may be the only time you realize that, maybe afterwards. But you can't, as much you kind of want to lose yourself in the moment and lose yourself in the music, you have to think of the people around you.
Yeah.
And if those people weren't there, where would the artist on the stage be?
Right.
Just as well.
So, like, what you talk about, like, so, like, when guys and girls and girls and girls and guys are partying together, it's like when people ask for, like, permission or, like,
Right.
stuff like that. So, like, similar to, like, the Burning Man stuff where, where if people are
Have you been
going
to
to
Bur-
touch
have you-
each other, yeah, stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I played the after party in Reno.
Gotcha.
And everybody came off the playa. I haven't played Burning Man. I would totally play Burning Man, but it's just like I'm always doing other stuff, and I'm going to
understand.
Europe this year, and
Yep. Right.
I went to Ibiza 2 years ago when I thought about it. Last year I was kind of like down in the dumps. I wasn't going anywhere, but so like peace, love, unity, and respect. So like just respecting other people's bodies.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
just having like permission if you want to touch somebody, let's say for
Yeah.
example, or being very
Yeah.
kind of like
Consent.
consensual, very
Yeah.
kind of like very plain.
Right.
I guess you could say as an example, and
Right.
just kind of acknowledge that with everybody.
Right.
And if you could do that, everybody's in a good place,
Right.
just
I,
as well.
I hope to be in positions that I can ask for consent.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah, I do.
I'm good with the peace and the love and the unity.
I would
and
agree.
And the respect.
It's very much ingrained in
Yeah.
your yogi self.
Yeah, I love everybody. So it's like I think that we need to talk about that kind of stuff because the more mindful that people are. But the millennials are doing a great job. Yeah, Techno Brooklyn. Everybody's a millennial, and they're wise beyond their years, and they're very loving and they're sweet. They treated me like family. Next thing I knew, I was in the DJ booth. The next thing I knew, I'm making a collaboration with one of the guys.
Wow,
And I'm waiting on an answer to see if they want to book some of the big dogs.
nice. I'm kind of like
Yeah.
blanking out here a little bit.
Why don't we wrap it up? It's been great. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I got some new releases coming out. Universal Love Tribe, Mark Salner down in Miami. We're going to be having some stuff out. Currently, we're in the top 100 with Fury is released. Koi, K-O-I. You can find it on Beatport, XTR Records, Madrid. We're number 20 in the hype chart on Melodic Techno right now. So we're doing pretty good. We're on 2 different charts in the top 100 releases. Tons of Mineshaft. Sean Underwood stuff is out right now. It's doing pretty well. What's coming up?
The new iPhone.
New iPhone, baby. iPhone 11 Pro. I want it so I can take better pictures at night.
It's either that or a
Better
good deal
video.
on iPhone 10.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I kind of like watched the highlights of the keynote. You
Mhm.
know you're a geek when
You're watching
you're
the keynote
watching
speech.
keynote speeches about the iPhone 11. What's wrong with me? Mom, I'm sorry.
Well, trust me, the hype is going to be out there, and people are going to be lined up and buying like 3 or 4 of them to sell 2 of them on eBay.
Yeah,
let's say, for
the
example.
back of it looks like a honeycomb. It's kind of crazy with those 3 lenses.
Yeah, it looks like a spider, like with those 3 eyes in the back or something like that.
Something like that. It looks like a space alien.
It's either get that or like a good deal on the iPhone 10.
Yeah.
It's either like one of those two.
Well, I think I'm still rocking an iPhone 8.
It still works. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but like I can tell that it's getting slow, and it's like
Oh, it's
way
getting kind of
slower.
buggy. Okay.
And like I do throw it
That's intentional.
like from like anybody who knows my home setup like you do is like my studio, my little music studio, very humble. It's not get crazy. Is right across from my bed, and I sleep on the floor. Yeah, I'm a yogi guy, so I sleep on like a 3-inch pad.
But for anybody who hasn't been into his room, it's very zenful. It's very
really
peaceful.
really high ceilings. But the only two things that there are in my entire room is a studio desk for production and my bed. There's like not too much other stuff, and it's a really big room. I live in
The essentials.
I'm blessed. Yeah, I'm blessed. I live in a pretty decent loft, right about a mile outside of Center City, and it's very very spacious. And the only two things I keep in there is the music and my bed, and I bounce back and forth, and I throw the phone from one to the other, especially at 4 or 5 a.m. I can't take it anymore.
Oh well, it's nice to have a room with a view. I have a room with a view
Yeah,
just
right
as
on
well.
Broad Street.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, we can look down Broad Street on which way, and then we see Camden outside of my room. And I see every sunrise, and I try to be awake for every sunrise one way or another. Usually the waking up part, not the going to sleep part. Not anymore.
I was with Pretty Digital
Cool.
not too
Shout
long
out to
ago.
Pretty Digital.
Pretty Digital has a space kind of like that, a small studio space where it's on a rooftop, and if you go outside of that rooftop, you'll
Cool.
see big ass like
Rec Philly.
Yeah, in Rec. And if you go out his little space, you're also on the rooftop just as well, and you can see great views of Center City and going into Camden just as well. But also, you'll see these big Wi-Fi antennas. So it's like you can kind of like if you stand there for a long period of time, you can feel like kind of like the radiation.
Oh boy.
Kind of like zapping you as if you were in a microwave.
I'm good on that.
So it's cool, but like it
Miss
comes
me with that
at
bullshit.
comes with a small price to a degree. But that was cool. I'm meeting up with him. Hopefully we'll sneak another podcast and hopefully feature him.
Yeah,
what he's doing.
Tell him to reach out because maybe we can get a collaboration done. I mean, I know that he's a good live performer from reports have it, and so like guys that are performing live on Ableton and stuff like that, shout out.
Do you think that's kind of like the new wave?
I don't
of
know.
Like
it's too much prep work. It's too much prep work for me, and I think it's
too
a new
much
wave
prep
of
for
production.
for sound guys too.
Yeah, but not only that, it's just like there's a lot of moving parts where there's tons and tons and tons more live Ableton shows with synths and guitars and like we're even involved with a few at Tons of My Shaft, but the reality is I see it becoming more advantageous for production than I do live performance because from the little bit I know about Ableton live performance, and you'd think I would know more, right? But the little bit that I know is that the set prep work is kind of ridiculous. So it's basically, if you guys understand the way that I make tracks in Ableton 10 Suite, you would know that I have anywhere between, let's say, 24 to like 40 individual sounds in a track. We call them tracks inside of the track, right?
There you go.
So basically, if you wanted something to sound like that kind of quality, melodic techno or techno, then you would have to literally have 40 different sounds loaded up for each track. And if somebody played, let's say, 15 tracks, I mean, you're literally looking at 700, 800, 900 samples, different samples that would be in those tracks. And I mean, like, the prep work on that kind of stuff is silly, and you have to make all of those banks, and then you have to know where everything's at, and it's just like, listen, I travel with the hard drive, I plug it into the one CDJ, there's a link cable, it shoots my playlist into the other CDJ, and I'm not playing live, but I'm playing live.
Right, I understand.
And maybe in the future, I'll do something like a keyboard, where it's like Ableton, a keyboard, and the CDJs, but I don't see myself doing like live performances.
I've yet to do a live performance as much as I want to do a live performance.
The internet says different, Eric, because I saw some drums the other day on the internet,
Oh, really?
where you were playing on internet drums.
Yes, but it wasn't in front of an audience. It was in front of an audience of one, and I enjoy that. And thankfully, Pretty Digital has lent me his Chaos Pad, his core
Nice.
Chaos Pad,
Shout out to you,
and I
P. Diddy.
I lent him in return my Roland TB3 because I feel
Is the TB3 the keyboard?
it's like
Or is it the drum machine?
it's like the touchpad, the small little
The T8's the drum pad, right?
the TRA is a drum machine with all those
the drum
faders.
machine. I messed with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the TB3 is more like the touchpad with all these kind of like acid kind of sounds. It can also be a keyboard as well.
You nasty.
But when I was playing that in my like small little live practices, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And the sounds, as cool as Acid House sounds, it didn't really flow with the tracks I was performing with.
Mhm.
It felt like the outlier.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just swap it with the Chaos Pad. And thankfully I had it with me, and I gave it to Pretty Digital, and he's a cool dude. He's from Dublin.
Nice.
And he's got some stories of how he traveled here and what he's doing with his time here.
I hope you get his interview next week.
Yeah, I hope so too. He's an interesting dude.
Ooh.
Anyway,
This was a blast.
yeah, thank you, man.
Sunny day,
I guess we'll just
middle of
wrap this up.
Philly.
We'll call it short.
Woo woo.
Yeah.
They don't have to be epic.
No, they could just be what they are, I guess.
Yeah, and
That's fine.
And thank you again for having me, man. It means the world that you would think about, having me on again. And
Yeah. Thanks for the cheesesteaks.
Yo, it's my pleasure. Cheesesteaks
Jimmy G's.
for everybody.
Boy.
Shout out to Jimmy G, boy. Open till 3, bitches. Maybe 4. I don't know.
Get off South Street.
Yeah.
Go on to Broad.
Yeah, Broad Street. It's
It's
the new South Street. No, it's not.
But no, it's not.
Not
Like
even close.
there's a lot of stuff going down South Street. It's like too much on South Street.
I was there yesterday, dude.
Yeah,
I might have bought a new glass apparatus. I might not have.
gotcha.
And I go to Garland of Letters and I buy my incense because they
Oh,
have
okay.
very special incense there.
I need to get back into incense.
Dude, I got the best stuff. I'm going to give you a few sticks before you leave.
Word.
And dude, it's just like I went into the record store across the street.
Which record
Reload.
store? Haven't heard of them, but I'll
It's-
definitely check them out.
It's the one right across the street from like Garland of Letters. It's like literally a block down. And I was like, I love buying like rock T-shirts.
Yeah, like vintage rock
Yeah,
T-shirts, like you
I
do,
bought like a New Order one,
like
and
the Nirvana one that you always rock.
yeah. I always
That's
get
cool.
my stuff there, and they're not like the real tour ones, but they're like copies of the tour ones.
Okay,
Anyway,
that's fine. Regardless,
dude, they're
nobody's
just fun.
asking.
They're just fun. So somebody called me out in Sedona, Arizona, and they're like, "How much you want for your Nirvana shirt?"
Mhm.
I was like, "It's not a,
Really?
it's a copy." He goes, "You're worthless." I was
Oh,
like,
that's
"Dude,
that's so sad.
dude, I have another Jaeger bomb." You mean man, you don't practice P.L.U.R.
You don't exist.
You don't practice P.L.U.R.
You're just a meme on Facebook.
You're so mean.
That's it.
Right. You still hating me in the chat room. So this was awesome, man. Thanks for inviting me again, and I'm grateful for you in my life, like as a friend and also in music. You're a good supporter.
Thanks, man.
And when things were dark, you stood up, and for that, I commend you. And I'm looking forward to a lot more years with you, man.
Same here. Thank you,
And,
man.
looking forward to see who you have on the show and growing the show in
Same
any way
here.
that I can help, man.
And these episodes are coming out kind of I don't want to say
Yeah.
sporadically, but
Right.
the hardest part of this
Shotgun.
podcast is just
Getting people to make the time.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. Everything else is easy.
Well, you work a lot because you hustle and you got to
Well,
pay for your life.
I
and
do.
then
I have two. Well, I used to have two jobs. I just got laid off from my previous job
sons of
not
bitches.
too long ago. They laid off like 40 other workers. I'm a welder in the daytime,
Oh boy.
or at least used to, and they cut me off,
Uh.
supposedly from the boss man. It was the first time in 10 years laying people off for
Yeah.
whatever reason. But I have a side hustle working with Amazon,
Right.
and I guess you can kind of consider this a side hustle, but it's more like
Yeah.
me coming together with friends and playing music.
We gotta get it to pay, because I'm sure that there are DJs in the Philadelphia community and the producers in the Philadelphia community that would definitely be interested in paying for promo interviews. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Well,
you
for right
know?
now, for right now,
as long as
yeah.
as long as they fit your business model and
Mhm.
they're pro music, good people, nice people.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's a thing. whether people realize it or not, is like there's a ton of promo that even you see with me in the Donnerstag is like either like a friend of a friend or it's paid for. So like there's not tons and tons and tons of like progressive astronaut coming after Donnerstag to.
And hopefully, and hopefully, if I do enough episodes, this will pay for itself. It's kind of like the Joe Rogan podcast. Like he has his own
sponsors.
Potentially that too. I mean, we can like
Pioneer,
Audio Technica, if you want to be sponsor. Yeah,
P.L.U.R.
Yep. We can keep this thing going in various different ways.
Let's do it. You've had some awesome guests. List all the guests. Go.
You.
Right.
Cody. You're putting you on the spot. DJ Biz. Colin. Yeah. Felzy.
Who?
Brian Fellman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right
Rebecca. Shout out to Rebecca.
Oh, the Rebecca?
Another Rebecca.
Oh, okay.
World famous cyclist. At least I consider her.
Oh, that's right. I know that you went.
Yeah,
off
a little different. Yeah, that's cool though.
She's
I love
cute.
that. Yeah, she's awesome. Also as well. Damn, I'm like.
And if he's forgetting anybody, I'd put him on the spot.
No, I am sorry. DJ Sticks, yo, shout out to you.
Sticks. Did you ever? You know who'd be really good?
What, Davidson Spina? Yeah, I know he would.
No, Rob Payne.
I just friended him on Facebook.
Rob Payne would be a good one.
Yeah.
Colin, you could do Colin again because Colin actually just came back from Bulgaria and.
Yeah, I seen him.
And I think he did some music there. He always does.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
He's
No
a
surprise.
Great kid.
Yes.
Shout out to Colin again.
Yeah.
And L. I love you, L.
Oh.
You guys are such
love
a beautiful couple. I love you, Eric. A lot of love in the air. A lot of P.L.U.R. in the air. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. We'll finally wrap this thing up. I know
wrap it up.
Trying to lengthen it a little bit. But okay, we'll just end it off there.
I'm sober.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 12 of Xclude with Xclude. We're going to cut it short a little bit, but who's counting? You probably already logged on to something else or listened to another track on Beatport, whatever.
You're sleeping with me.
Well, I'll tell you what, those Joe Rogan episodes can go quite a long ways, and I don't mind going that distance. But anyway, we'll send it off there.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you once again.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for listening. Find me on Instagram at DJ Xclude. Find this guy at Donnerstag Music on Instagram. Like, share, subscribe, all that shit. Facebook just as well. You can find me on Mixcloud just as well. SoundCloud, you'll find it there. Yeah, we'll end it off there. 3, 2, 1. That's it, ladies and gentlemen.
Peace.
Later.